News at 6 begins now.
Tonight we talk with Dr. Bob Lutz, and he says some COVID-19 numbers are more important than others, especially when we want to know what's happening here in our own community.
And school is less than a month away for the Spokane Public School District. We'll catch you up on the latest back-to-school information that we found out today.
And the West Coast Conference joining the Big Sky and the WAC in announcing its pushback on fall sports this season. KREM 2 News at 6 starts right now.
And good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I'm Regina on. Whitney is on assignment.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Every day at KREM, our newsroom is digging into the data, reporting on the latest coronavirus in our area. Experts say what's important are not daily numbers, but rather trends. So here's a look at Spokane County. Today, 56 new positive results. To put that number in perspective, take a look at where we were 7 days ago and 14 days ago. Now to positivity rates. The last date that was tracked was on August 10th, about 15% compared to lower rates 7 and 14 days ago. We also have data on patients and hospitalized and people who have died from the coronavirus. You can see those numbers now compared to the last 7 and 14 days to better understand where our community is at right now. Our Whitney Ward took some time to speak with our county's health expert on what data to pay attention to and the numbers that don't offer a full scope of the story.
5 million confirmed infections, 150,000 Americans dead. There is no doubt a huge part of understanding this coronavirus pandemic has been the numbers. Here at KREM, we have made a commitment not only to bring you the latest data every single day, but also to help you make sense of it. I had a chance to sit down and talk with Health Officer Dr. Bob Lutz, and he made it very clear that some numbers absolutely are more important than others, especially when it comes to understanding what coronavirus is doing here in our local communities. For example, you may have heard that Spokane has about 1,500 available hospital beds. And yes, that is true. However, it's not the bed part that is important. What is important is the equipment that is used to treat that patient and also the highly trained healthcare workers who are taking care of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's really a useless metric for the most part. I mean, it does give you some reflection on capacity, but it's a moving target. So a bed is just that. It's a physical structure. A lot of people get really stuck on some of those numbers that really in the grand scheme are not very useful.
Way back when this all first started, the goal was to keep the hospital system from getting stressed. How do we know when we're starting to stress the system? If it's not about available hospital beds, what is it about?
You really have to understand who's in there, why they're in there, how long they've been in there. It's much more complex than I think people can fully understand and appreciate. And we are seeing that COVID-19 is not just a respiratory illness. It's truly multi-system. And so anywhere from the brain, to the lungs, to the heart, to the kidneys, and it's made, again, caring for these individuals much more complicated.
What do you say to those people who keep comparing this to a flu and that we just need to let it run its course?
Well, it's not the flu. You know, if we look in this country right now, Whitney, as you know, we have more than 150,000 people who have succumbed to COVID-19. The average flu year is between 25 and 65,000, give or take. And that's again from October through April, May. So we've surpassed that in many, many ways already.
But will there be another surge just like the one we're seeing right now, when that mask mandate is then relaxed again at any point?
The assumption is that masking mandate is going to be relaxed. I honestly don't see it. I honestly think that's an assumption. I really do believe, Whitney, that the only way we are going to be able to get through this is if the interventions that we are recommending right now, the physical distancing, the small groups, the masking, the hand washing, staying home when you're ill, those are going to be the essentials going forward. I don't see it changing.
Or have you been more worried about the fact that we are so close to another state that is handling things very differently?
Oh, it's been of concern for many, many months. You know, I've heard from many individuals and from other individuals who have said they go to Idaho or they've been to Idaho and they like it there because the restrictions aren't in place. Unfortunately, COVID-19 doesn't recognize restrictions. What it recognizes is opportunities to infect people.
Does it weigh on you emotionally?
Yeah, I mean, I won't get verklempt, I promise, but no, I mean, it's a heavy burden. pure and simple. And I am disappointed that we find ourselves here this far into this. Right now, the recent data have been encouraging that maybe we're seeing a plateauing. That's encouraging. But people could take that message and say, oh, great, we're over the hump. We're flattening the curve. Now we can relax. We can't do that. We need to really control the pandemic to really get our lives back in some semblance of order. And what that means is to listen to the data, to look at trends, because that's what we're looking at.
That was Whitney Ward reporting. In other news, Spokane Public School students will go back to school on September 14th. That was decided by the board last night. That vote also included starting off the school year with full distance learning. The plan is for students to go back in person to classes when it's deemed safe to do so. Superintendent Dr. Adam Swinyard says he's working closely with Spokane Health Officer to decide what's best for the upcoming school year.
Phasing and transitioning should happen slowly and cautiously, and we'll be heeding that advice, working to do that as quickly as we can, but also not put us in a position where our students are having to abruptly move from one environment to the other.
SPS is also offering training for staff as well as conferences for students to meet with teachers before the school year. The training will help staff better engage with their students, not only academically, but also on the social emotional front.
And we know that the habits and the routines, the level of trauma that many of our students have experienced is significant. And so an important emphasis of our professional development with our staff moving into this school year will be really thinking thoughtfully about the needs of students related to social emotional learning and how to help them process this moment.
Dr. Swinyard reiterated that these are not ideal situations. He said ideally students and staff would be taking classes in person. And coming up in the next half hour, SPS and the Central Valley will both be hosting webinars for families to join. If you would like to attend these, just text the word meeting to 509-448-2000 and we'll send you a link to join the webinar. Well, we have had a break from the summer heat over the past few days, but temperatures are going to be heating up for the weekend in a big way. Meteorologist Michelle Boss standing by with more on that heat heading our way. Michelle?
Yeah, it's been crazy. We've had some pretty big swings in temperature for a month that's normally pretty even keeled. Normally we can count on sunny, dry, 80s and 90s in August, but we've certainly seen some cooler temperatures and we've also seen the other extremes. Well, we're kind of in that cooler period right now, but things are going to be heating up for the weekend. So let's go ahead and take a look at that excessive heat watch that will go into effect on Sunday and last through Tuesday. In fact, this will likely over the weekend be upgraded to heat advisory or something a little bit more imminent. But we are looking at high temperatures in the Spokane area from the middle 90s all the way to the low 100s. And of course, that means triple-digit heat out across the central part of the state, even west of the Cascades, especially on Sunday. Seattle will likely see high temperatures in the 90s. And of course, that is certainly above average for folks out there. Satellite and radar showing quiet conditions across the inland northwest. The clouds have pushed off to the east, so we're looking at clear skies for tonight. So if you don't mind the cooler temperatures, you can certainly still check out plenty of meteors with the Perseid meteor shower. Conditions should be good for that. Currently, we're in the mid 70s, so it feels great out there right now with some sunshine, lower 70s across the Panhandle, lower 80s in Moses Lake and Wenatchee, and also into the 80s in Lewiston. We'll be cooling off this evening under clear skies, and again, temperatures dipping down into the middle and upper 40s, middle 40s, especially up north of Spokane. But those temperatures creeping up for the weekend. Friday, we'll see lower 80s for highs, back to 90 on Saturday, and we'll be in the upper 90s to near 100 by Sunday.
All right, the weekend's so close, yet so far. Thanks, Michelle. Well, the Seahawks headed into their second day of training camp today, and the media got to talk to the player who reps that number 3, Russell Wilson. Chris Egan from our sister station in Seattle joins us now from training camp.
DK Metcalf is only in his second NFL training camp, and he's already looking like a veteran. He owes a lot of that to Russell Wilson. This offseason, DK and Russell spent a lot of time together.
We were able to spend a lot of time, working and training and getting all the extra work in, and so that was really key for us. And then obviously our friendship has just evolved like crazy, and he's one of my best friends for sure, and just love his demeanor, love who he is. He's like a little brother to me almost in a way.
On Twitter, there's a hashtag #LetRussCook, which is basically asking the Hawks to use Wilson even more with their offensive game plan. Russ is okay with that.
At the end of the day, I want the ball in my hands. I want to be able to make plays and give us a chance to win. And that doesn't always mean just me chucking it around, but it does mean that the more times I feel like when I get the more times I have the ball in my hands, the more things I think can happen. I think the defense worries about that too. Rather than us having it be in the fourth quarter, I think to be able to make some stuff happen. I think we have a crazy stat of the lead of. I think 56-0 when we have the lead, by halftime and stuff like that. I think, getting ahead is a key thing. I do definitely believe in finishing strong. I think we've won a lot of games in the fourth quarter and, do some fun things in the fourth quarter and in the games. But, let's treat every quarter as the fourth.
2 practices in, and Russell Wilson has been spotted wearing an Oakley visor with a mask. He says that's for preparation, just in case the NFL requires it during the season. But if they don't, he doesn't plan to wear it. At the VMAC in Renton, I'm Chris Egan, King 5 Sports.
And Russell Wilson looks like he's really excited to start.